Have you ever heard the whisper beneath the noise, the quiet calling of your intuition, the ancient memory stirring in your bones, and the voice of the divine feminine asking you to remember who you truly are? There comes a moment on the spiritual path when the veil begins to thin, when your soul begins to awaken, and when the woman within you feels called back to her sacred wisdom. You're called back to your temple, back to the mystery, and you're called back to the priestess path. Welcome to the spiritual sanctuary. I'm Bertina, your host, and within the sanctuary, we'll explore intuition. We'll learn about spirit guides, energy healing, moon rituals, priestess practices, and even more. Each episode's an invitation to step beyond the ordinary and to enter a space of remembrance, healing, and spiritual awakening. So take a deep breath, open the inner temple of your heart, listen for the wisdom that has been waiting within you. The sanctuary is open, and this is where you stop searching and start becoming. Hi, it's Bertina. Welcome back to Spiritual Sanctuary. And today I want to talk about something that's been on my heart and a project that I've been working on. And it's why women need to gather in circles and why retreats are so powerful. But more importantly, why even virtual retreats can be as meaningful and sacred as meeting in person. I know sometimes we think about retreats, we picture traveling a few hours, we're going to a beautiful place, we're sitting together in the same room, lighting candles, sharing stories, and just being happy. And this is beautiful. I love going to the Wise Woman retreat in October in Tennessee because there's something really powerful about being physically present with other women in a sacred place. But I also want to say this. Sacred connections not limited by distance. Healing is not limited to a building, and the divine feminine is not limited to whether we're sitting beside each other or meeting through a screen. I truly believe that when women gather with intention, even virtually, something sacred can happen. For generations, women have gathered together. We've gathered around fires, kitchen tables, wells, gardens. We've gathered in temples. We've gathered around for births and for deaths. And we've gathered to share wisdom and to tell stories. And more importantly, I think something that I'm learning more about is to support each other. I think there's a part of us that remembers that. And there's a part of the feminine soul that knows we were never meant to carry everything alone and that the other woman is not our enemy. But in today's world, so many women are carrying so much. We're taking care of families, we're taking care of homes, we have jobs, we have relationships, we have parents to take care of, and we also have children to take care of. We have clients and coworkers and community stuff, and we're often the one remembering what everyone else needs. We tend to hold the emotional weight, and we are often the ones showing up even when we're so tired. And you know what I notice when I watch women who do this? I notice how disconnected that they are from themselves. They are running on autopilot, and then when they stop, they just look exhausted. They feel exhausted. They haven't received anything that they've given. And sometimes they just want something even deeper. But the thing is, though, is that you may not even know what that is. You just know that your soul is asking for quiet. Your body is wanting rest, and your heart is wanting to be seen. That's why women's circles matter, because a women's circle is not just a meeting and it's not just a class. It's not just a group of people sitting together. A true sacred circle is a container, and it's a space where women can come as they are, not perfect, They don't have to have all the answers. They can be tired. They can be seeking awakening or a healing, or they could be questioning all of this, or they could be ready to remember who they are. I've started doing circles a couple of years ago, and I started hosting circles this year. And I love the fact that you don't have to pretend. You can speak if you want to, or you can just listen. I find sometimes hearing another woman share her story is enough to help me heal. You hear her say something that you felt, and you think, oh, great, I'm not the only one. And that moment is so powerful. So much of women's pain is carried quietly. We think we're the only one who feels overwhelmed, and we think we're the only one who's spiritually awakening, but unsure of where to go next. Other people, other women look like they have it all together. We feel so sensitive and emotional and tired of holding everything together. Then we step into this circle and we realize we're not alone. That is healing, I would say, all by itself. I think it's really important for us to be witnessed without judgment. That is something that has taken a while for me to learn. I grew up in a very judgmental home. You were to work constantly, hard work paid off, you didn't complain. As long as you worked, you were okay. But that's not how it is now. We weren't, I personally wasn't allowed to cry. I heard that I'll give you something to cry about. And so I grew up apologizing. I grew up embarrassed and shy. And what I love about the circles is that there's something healing about being in a space where you don't have to explain your emotions. You don't have to apologize for crying. And you're being reminded that your intuition matters, that it's not just that you're sensitive or paranoid. Your story matters. It isn't, oh, get over it. You're just like everyone else. Your body matters, no matter how your body is. It's okay to rest and not work all the time. And we should be healing. And I find that this is what the Sacred Sisterhood can offer us. In a world that teaches women to compare themselves and to compete with each other, to stay busy constantly, to be quiet, to not complain, to push through exhaustion, this sacred circle gives us another way. It says you can soften here, you can breathe here, and you can be honest. And retreats take that even deeper. I will tell you, at the retreat that I went to last year, I think I slept more than anything. I felt comfort when I felt insecure. I felt accepted when I was a little different. And I felt like this was a perfect sacred pause. I stepped out of my routine. There was no cell phones, no anything. And I just listened to myself and I listened to my soul. And I knew then that my life was going to change. This retreat wasn't about running away from life. It's about returning to the life that you have with more clarity and more peace. And sometimes the answers that you're seeking, when we retreat, we give ourselves permission to stop, to get away from all that noise and all the responsibilities and the work and all the pressure. We make space for our body to speak, and we make space for our heart to release. We listen to our soul, and we listen to what it's been trying to tell us, because when we are running on full blast, we can't listen. And sometimes something that comes up is just gentle, or maybe it's emotional or even surprising. And sometimes the most powerful moment at a retreat is not dramatic at all. It might be simply saying, I'm tired and I need support. I know I cried and I did not apologize. I laughed even when I felt very insecure, but my intuition grew stronger. I knew that it was time for me to leave what I had been doing for 23 years, 25 years. I just didn't know how. But this retreat created a doorway for that, a moment in time when I chose myself. And I wanted to return. Actually, I wanted to stay there, but I wanted to return back here a different person. And I really did. I want to thank Jennifer Harver with Gaia Sisterhood for that wonderful retreat. She has no idea how much she has helped me on my path, and all the women there. I can't even name them all. They're all so beautiful. They're in the circles with me. I've shared my friends with those circles. And the thing is, though, is that we've went to these retreats together now. I conquered some of my fears, and I was just there. We're all spiritual beings and we're intuitive beings, and we're very emotional, we're very creative, and we're sacred, and we're cyclical. And when we forget that, we can start to feel disconnected from ourselves and from everyone else. I know I felt resentful and angry, and then I felt numb, and then tired, and I knew something important was missing. A retreat helps us to come back to the body and to the breath, to the life force, back to the sacred truth of who we are underneath everything that we do in this world, all the roles that we play. Now, I want to switch gears for just a moment and talk about virtual retreats because I think that's really important. Many of you all know that I have a disease where I'm not supposed to go out into the sun or into the heat. And I have stayed inside for so many years. And with this outdoor retreat, I was welcomed, I was supported, and it was okay for me to go in and lay down and not do things. I did things at my own pace. No one was there to tell me I had to do anything. But I knew if I wanted to, there was help. And this is kind of a balance for me because so many times I do things virtually, but not in nature. And now I'm finding this balance. And then I found a lot of women who's the exact opposite of me. They do a lot of things in nature, but they don't really connect with things virtually, technologically. Somehow they got in their mind that it's less powerful. And a lot of people think, well, it's not the same as being there in person, so it's not exactly the same. But different doesn't make it less sacred. I'll tell you, I love virtual retreats because they can be beautiful and they're powerful. And you can be yourself. Your sisterhood can be real. And for many women, virtual spaces are not just convenient, they're necessary. Because let's be honest, life is full. We work, we have kids' things, we have family things. Gas costs a fortune. Hotels or retreat cabins are expensive. Food costs money, and taking time off work can be hard. Arranging childcare or puppy sitting can be hard. And driving a long distance can be exhausting, and not every woman can easily leave home for a retreat. Some women are caregivers to their mother and their children. Some have health concerns. Some have chronic pain or mobility challenges. I have anxiety. I've had nervous system sensitivities, and it makes in-person events sometimes really overwhelming. I know some of you all live far away from spiritual communities, and you don't have access to local circles that feel safe or welcoming or even aligned with your path. And honestly, some women are simply tired, so laying on the couch with the iPad is exactly the way that they may connect. That's why virtual sacred spaces are such a gift. A virtual retreat allows a woman to enter the circle from where she is. She can light a candle in her own home. She can sit at her own altar. She can be in her PJs, in her favorite blanket. She can drink tea from her favorite mug. She can join from her bed or her couch, her yoga mat, anywhere. She can turn her camera on or off depending upon how safe she feels. She can participate in a way that honors her body, her energy, her budget, and her life. And that matters. It's not just convenience. This is sacred accessibility. I believe that the divine feminine meets us where we are. She does not say we have to drive 5 hours to be worthy of healing. She does not say you have to have the perfect schedule, the perfect outfit, the perfect body, the perfect energy. She says, come as you are. Light the candle where you are. Eat the food that your body will accept. Open your heart and begin where you are. This is one of the beautiful things about virtual retreats. They allow us to bring our sacred practice into the places where our lives actually happen. In our homes, where we rest and cry and eat and all the things. And so when we create that sacred space at home, we're not just leaving our life for healing, we're inviting that healing into our life. And that is powerful. A virtual retreat can help a woman learn how to make her home feel sacred and safe. She begins to understand that sanctuary is not only something far away, it's not only in a retreat center or a temple, but it's in her bedroom, in her kitchen, on her porch, sitting in her closet while her kids are screaming outside and having fun. It's wherever she chooses to pause. She can learn to use candlelight and journaling and meditation, prayer, ritual, and rest as part of her real life, her everyday life. And when the retreat's over, that practice stays with her. The altar's still there, the candle is still there, the journal is still there. The memory of the circle is still there, and the nervous system remembers what it felt like to soften. And your soul remembers what it felt like to be held and to be listened to and to be seen. And you know that you can return to right there. And that is the power of virtual sacred space. Now, I want you to remember that energy is not limited by distance. Anyone who's experienced distant Reiki, online meditation, virtual prayer, you know that this energy moves beyond location. We could hold space for one another from different homes and cities, states, and countries. We can light candles at the same time and we can breathe together and we feel the sacred field that kind of forms between us. That's part of the mystery and that's part of the magic. And this is the priestess path in the modern world. The ancient women gathered around fires in temples and in kitchens. We may have to gather around Zoom rooms or online classrooms or virtual retreats. The form may change, but the need is still the same. We need places to be witnessed and to rest and to tell the truth, to reconnect with our bodies and our spirit, and to remember that we're sacred. And all of this is why I believe virtual retreats are not a lesser version of gathering. They're a modern expression of sacred sisterhood, and they're one of the ways the divine feminine is rising in this time because sacred community has to be flexible. It has to be accessible and it has to honor women with real lives. The ones that are tired or busy, who are caregiving, who are financially mindful, or who are far away. That is why I love hybrid retreats. It honors both needs and it honors the beauty of gathering in person, and it also honors the accessibility of gathering virtually. It gives each woman a choice. There's no right way to enter sacred space. The right way is the way that allows you to show up honestly and as yourself. So if you've been longing for sisterhood and spiritual connection and rest, or just to pause, I want you to know this. You deserve that space. You deserve the rest and support no matter what. You do not have to wait until life is perfect. We do that so many times. I'll do this when this happens. I'll do this when life is so much better. You don't have to wait to have more time or money or confidence. Sometimes the circle is where the readiness begins. Sometimes the retreat's where your nervous system finally relaxes. And sometimes this sacred space, no matter what, is where your soul whispers, "Welcome back. I've been waiting for you." Now, this is why women need circles and we need retreats. We need sacred sisterhood and spiritual community, not because we are weak, but because we're wise enough to know that we were never meant to walk this path alone. And if what I'm saying is speaking to your heart, I want to invite you into a sacred experience that I've created called a sacred return, a divine feminine hybrid retreat. This retreat is something I've been dreaming about for a long time. It's a sacred emotional homecoming for women. It's a weekend of rest, release, remembrance, and reclamation. It takes place Friday evening, July 17th, and all day Saturday, July the 18th, virtually on Zoom. And on July the 19th, I'm offering Zoom as well as in person at the Healing Society of Nashville. This retreat's for women who are ready to slow down and reconnect with the body. During the retreat, we're going to practice somatic yoga, sacred ritual. We're going to study our goddess archetypes. We're going to look at divine healing and shadow work. We're going to look at divination and meditation, journaling, and deep rest. We're going to have pajama parties. We're going to wake up and eat breakfast together. And because this is a hybrid retreat, you can join in the way that feels most supportive of you. You can attend virtually from the comfort of your home. You can create your own sacred space, light your candle, bring your tea, your blanket, join wherever you are. I'm also going to record the retreat because you may not be able to record or attend every section. You're going to have replay access. I'm going to have handouts and resources that will be provided for each one of the breakout sessions so you can continue to work. There's even a workbook that you take and you continue to use after the retreat. Now, if you feel called to join us, you can learn more and register at my website, bertena.org, Bertena. Look for the tab that says Sacred Return. Go through and see if you would just want to attend on Friday for $44. Saturday only is $144. Sunday only, in person or Zoom is $55, or the entire weekend is $222. The whole entire schedule is there. I have a class prepared with handouts for everything and workbooks after. And if you need a payment plan, that's okay. Reach out to me. I will send you an invoice and you can pay as you go. So I want you to come as you are. I want you to know that you're welcome at this retreat. You're welcome in the spiritual sanctuary. And I want you to realize that it's time for you to stop searching and start becoming. Thank you for joining me today inside of Spiritual Sanctuary. And until we meet again, may you trust your intuition, honor your sacred wisdom, and remember that you don't have to walk this path alone. The circle is open. The sanctuary is waiting, and the sacred return is already begun. Welcome home, my sister. As we close the sacred space, take a moment to breathe and listen and carry this wisdom with you. May the guidance you receive today continue to unfold in your heart and in your daily life. May you remember that your intuition is always speaking, your soul is always guiding, and the divine feminine is always inviting you deeper into your own sacred truth. If this episode spoke to your soul, I invite you to continue the journey with me at my website, Bertena.org. That is Bertena.org. On this website, you can explore my spiritual classes, meditations, offerings, and resources created to support your awakening. Be sure to sign up for my newsletter so you can receive updates and inspirations and free spiritual tools and class announcements. I want to thank you for stepping into the spiritual sanctuary. Until we meet again, trust your intuition, honor your sacred wisdom, and remember the sanctuary is always within you.